Hallo, da sind wir aus dem Verlagsgebäude der Verlagsgruppe Handelsblatt in Düsseldorf heute und haben einen ganz wunderbaren Gast, mit dem wir gleich hier eines unserer Terrassengespräche machen werden. Nicht auf der Terrasse, weil es in Strömen regnet, sondern im Foyer. Aber wir freuen uns sehr, dass Symone Sanders da ist und wir werden sie gleich ein bisschen genauer vorstellen und dann das Gespräch auf Englisch machen und ich hoffe, ihr habt Spaß dabei.
And I am now delighted to actually introduce our guest properly. Symone, you are a political strategist, you're a commentator, you're seen on American television almost every single day, you're fierce, you fly, but you are also, very notably, the former National Press Secretary for then presidential candidate, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to have to ask you, what motivated you to work for Bernie Sanders last year?
Well,
actually,
first,
when you started.
I'd like to note we're not related, because I know people like to ask. We are not related, no relation.
No big Sanders family.
No big Sanders family. I worked on global trade work prior to joining Senator Sanders' campaign. I worked for Public Citizens Global Trade Watch, and I did our press. And trade wasn't a hot button issue necessarily for the press in the United States about 2 years ago, but it was for Bernie Sanders. So one day, Bernie's campaign manager just called me up, said, "Hey, this is Bernie's campaign manager. I want to know if you want to come work for us." And I said, "Hello, who is this?" And he got my resume from some folks I had previously worked for. And when I sat down and talked with Senator Sanders, I was convinced. The things he was talking about on the campaign trail, those were the things that I was discussing with my family and my friends. Those were the conversations my fellow millennials were having. So it was just a no-brainer for me.
So no-brainer, because the issues, you associated yourself with these issues, you agreed with him on topics, right?
Yes, agreed with him on topics. Look, 45% of millennials in America identify as independents. Yeah. That means they have necessarily no party loyalty. They don't feel as though they have to follow the status quo. They want to do their own thing. Now, I am a registered Democrat. I've been a Democrat since I've been eligible to vote. But I do, kind of subscribe to that independence of my fellow millennials. So many millennials jumped on the Bernie Sanders bandwagon, if you will, because of the issues. He won millennials across the board, whether they were white, black, Latino, Asian American, Native American, or otherwise.
When you joined the Sanders campaign, did you already imagine how this whole election would come out?
When I joined the Sanders campaign, I joined because, again, I love what he was talking about. And I thought if I can go out there, join the political revolution, do great work, Bernie could get elected maybe. I had no idea that it would balloon into what it has become. Clearly, I had no idea Donald Trump would become the next president of the United States. Once Bernie lost the primary, I, like many other people, including Donald Trump, thought that Hillary Clinton was going to be president. So it was a surprise, to say the least, when we woke up the morning after the election and Donald Trump was the president.
Right. Miriam was also a governmental spokeswoman, actually, but quite a few years ago. And I'm wondering, do you think, you've been in politics for a long time as well, you can certainly comment on that as well, but do you actually think that digital media has sort of changed the way that political messages are being crafted, are being distributed, are being received? What has changed in your, daily life in the time that you have experienced political discourse?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I think you'd agree, Miriam, that lots of news actually breaks and happens on Twitter, especially in American politics. Our president makes policy literally on Twitter.
Definitely.
And that makes it tough for the spokespeople.
Yeah.
I don't, as a former spokesperson, as someone that does communications, it is exciting that you have various ways that you can reach the electorate or the voters or people in your organization. But it's also really dangerous because your message can then take on a mind of its own, and it's a little bit harder to control online. I mean, one of the big ways it's changed, I think, over the last couple of years is while on the campaign trail, and even now, the things that I say online, whether it be Twitter, whether it be on my Instagram page, whether it be this stream right here, reporters will quote this. Yeah. I have been quoted multiple times of something I put on my Instagram or on my Twitter page or something I did on a Facebook live stream. So this is just a new world. Like, we are always now on the record.
Yeah. Right, and it's like cut out the middleman also a little bit, so that you can't craft messages or craft campaigns in the way you could like 15 years ago. So that's a major difference. And I think in Germany we still have, we are still a bit behind because Twitter, for example, is not that important like it is in the US. But looking at the American market for political messaging, wow. Amazing.
Literally, you have to be on the internet. If you are not online, your message is not reaching people. People are literally breaking news on Twitter. It's just not enough to send out a press release anymore. Right. It's so much more than that.
Well, plus, if you aren't, you can't not be online, but if you are online, you also have this incredible venue to reach a lot of people, right? You've made some statements, some of your most, either controversial statements, but also most powerful statements, I think have been, just mere sentences, let's say 140 characters, or, a 30-second clip where you really have either, raised your voice as a young black woman, or you've made a really strong point, right? You have a couple of tweets that were retweeted 40,000 times, and you made a very strong political statement. So do you think there's also this completely new potential to raise voices like your own, who might have not been on, let's say, TV, might have not been in politics before? Is there that sort of potential?
Like a democratization of voices.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm in a unique position because I am on television on a regular basis on CNN. Shout out to all the CNN International listeners and watchers out there. But for folks who are maybe young activists, for people who are maybe not as involved in politics as I've been, I've worked 15 different campaigns. I think about the Ferguson activists in Ferguson, Missouri in the United States, where they took to the streets in the aftermath of the death of a young African-American man named Michael Brown, who was shot and killed by a local police officer, and he was left in the street for 4 hours. Right. These activists, folks like Brittany Packnett, DeRay McKesson, Sam Singway, these folks have now been catapulted into the national stage, particularly for their activism. I remember watching Ferguson unfold on Twitter. And the beauty of technology, I do believe, is that we can now organize. We can be connected in ways that we weren't before. I'm connected to Ferguson activists. I can connect with people right here in Dusseldorf, Germany. People in Guatemala. Guatemala just started a new political party. It's the translation from Spanish is called the Seed. So it's a populist political party that is all about bringing the power back to the people. And we've heard that before, right? But we can now all be connected thanks to the beauty of social media. And folks whom otherwise wouldn't be on cable television, we now know who they are, we hear their voices, and they're raising really important issues.
Right. Well, and as you said, you can connect with people here in Düsseldorf, because that's what you're doing tonight as well.
Yeah.
We're actually about to hear Symone speak here at the Terrassengespräche, here at the Verlagsgruppe Handelsblatt. We're very excited. We got a full house downstairs. And
I think we need to head down. Wir müssen langsam runter, sonst werden sie unten nervös. And start the conversation over there.
Yeah. We'll see you down there. Are you going to come join us? Join us.
Everybody in Düsseldorf, run. Do not walk.
Body bomb the event.
That's right. No bombing the event, please. Body bomb.
But you can join us online, right, Leia?
Absolutely, yes. I think yes, absolutely. Join us and comment and watch this wonderful lady.
Thank you.
Thank
Tschüss.
you.
Bis zum nächsten Mal.
Bye.